Let me get a few things going there. There we are. Hey there, everyone. How are you doing? Uh, I'm so glad to see you. Happy Wednesday. Jeannie, you beat everyone today. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to see you here. Here we are on The Vision is Possible. Hello there, YouTube. Hello there, Instagram. Hello there, Facebook. Now, Instagram, I say this every week, I cannot reach behind me and wave at you. But wait a minute, let me come over here and just wave at a few people. There we go. And then I'm not going to wave at you for the rest of the night, but know that I'm waving to you from my heart because I got the camera right here. So glad to see all of you. I hope your week has gone very well. It's been rocky for us. It's been rocky all around the world. Avoidable circumstances. We are living in avoidable circumstances. And as I always want to start at the top of the show and let you know, you and I, we know what's going on right now in the world. We know what's happening. And we're going to pray for everyone to survive, to live, to be acknowledged for the beautiful culture that they are, and for the fighting and the disagreements and the ugliness to stop. And on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to talk about making our visions possible. We're going to meet some incredible people. And I have such a guest tonight. And before I bring on this incredible woman, I wanted to first acknowledge someone, and I want to make sure that I get everything right about this man, Victor J. Gulliver. He is with 3 other astronauts going around the moon. They're going further than any human being ever has into space. And that is amazing. He is the first astronaut to live and work on the International Space Station in 2020. And he is the first Black astronaut to fly around the moon as the pilot of the Artemis 2 mission in 2026. And if you listened, or if you have a chance, if you haven't heard what he said on Easter Sunday, you really must listen to that loving piece of heart that he shared with his words. It was beautiful. Now, all of you know who've been here before, I am a Buddhist, so I don't celebrate Easter. But what I do celebrate is the resurrection of the soul. What I do celebrate is new beginnings. And what I do acknowledge and love is that every one of us has an opportunity to live our lives the way we want and how beautiful this earth is. So check out Mr. Glover. Check out what he said to us. So I've had a great week. My show, Beyond the Gates, the soap opera, is just banging. And I hear that a lot of you have been watching, and thank you so much for your comments. I'm so happy to be recurring on that show. It's just wonderful. I'm so happy to finally get an opportunity to share that with you because I couldn't for months. It's been fantastic. And I'm still here on my podcast every Wednesday night. And speaking of Wednesday nights, I have an incredible guest tonight. And I'm not going to give you her resume. No. I'm going to give you something better than that. Please, let me introduce you to Ms. Kaylin Jenkins. Hello. How are you doing, Kaylin?
I'm doing so good. I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you so much for having me. This is fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to have you here. You are so amazing. You're just amazing. Wait a minute. I wanted to I've got something I'm going to read that you wrote. I said that to her earlier, you guys. I said, "Oh yes, you said some fabulous things." She said, "Oh no, what did I say?" I said, "Don't worry, I left out all the bad stuff." And look at this. I've got someone right here who wants to say hello to you, Miss Ebony from Sons TV says hello. Can you see
Oh,
that one?
oh goodness. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate, you
So,
folks
Kaylin,
checking, tuning
that's
in.
right. That's right. Tell us about you. Where do you come from? How did you get here?
Oh goodness. Ooh, how much time do you have? This is only a couple minutes, right? Um, I'm originally from Detroit. We moved to LA when I was 12. And yeah, I was a regular LA girl. Went to college in DC. Went to Howard University for my undergrad.
Mm.
And there, I made a film. I made my first film. I had a friend, had a script. He was writing it. And I said, you know what? We can get some money for that script. I just took a VC class, and I think venture capitalists could get us some money. And we went and we presented a couple weeks in a row, and we got $1 million to make a film.
Oh, I love it.
We made it in Virginia in this rural area. And yeah, that film, I don't talk about it much, but you've already kind of outed me. So so it's still available on Amazon. It is the funniest film ever. Ever, ever, ever.
Oh, I love it. So,
Yeah, it's a comedy with a whole bunch of comedians. And then, I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna go to LA. This entertainment thing is easy enough. They're giving away $1 million and things. So and I got here and I started. I started from the bottom all the way, working on music videos and commercials. And back in the day, reality TV was considered trashy. Like if you worked on that,
mhm.
it was not okay. I eventually got into reality, and it's just, that was a lot of fun, but those are 12, 14, 15, sometimes 26-hour days. And
Mhm.
I had a daughter and I wanted to be home for dinner with her. So that's how I transitioned into more corporate entertainment. And, I had a great time. A couple organizations, most recently, I came from Skydance. And
Mhm.
that was wonderful. It was a really, really fantastic
What
experience.
kind of things did you work on at Sky Dance? And what is it that you did at Sky Dance?
Oh goodness. Well, Skydance was we were in such a uh, growth spurt. To be totally like transparent, things were moving and going so fast. I wasn't much that I didn't do there. When I left, I was vice president of operations. And I'll tell you what, watching that company grow and go from a couple divisions to four divisions and then bigger, and then we all know about all the acquisitions and everything. That was something that it's hard to even put into words, to see something just kind of mature, and it's still just growing and growing and growing and taking all these different shapes and forms. And so that was my honor to be a part of. It was a really great experience. And now, I've been at Gravelous. I'm COO there.
Chief
And I
Operating Officer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, and I work with Kenny. He is amazing. He is a
Oh,
joy to work with. Just a brilliant creative talent. And yes, we are building and growing and adjusting to this new kind of shift in entertainment.
yes. Tell us what now. Kenny was a guest on the show, you guys, last year. You talk about some stories. Ooh, he's got some great stories from the music business to hear how he built his own business. Tell us, what is Grovelous? What kind of company is that?
Oh, thank you for asking.
Mhm.
So Gravelous, I
Gravelous, thank you.
Gravelous, yeah. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention it's a 25-year-old in June. It'll be 26 years old. entertainment company that works with all the major studios, and we do a thing called key art. Now, key art is, I'm sure, a word people aren't very familiar with, but that's all the movie posters that you see. If you think about, billboards that you see, if you think about maybe even something as straightforward as Netflix, you think about
Mhm.
all those thumbnails you see, those are all movie posters. Uh, We've done a ton of great ones. One of the biggest ones, I think, and it was a real ringer at the awards, was Sinners.
Yeah.
Sinners with Michael B. Jordan. That one was up for, was it 16 awards?
Oof.
Yeah, and four were won. Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler, they
And the
won. But
DP,
yeah,
first
oh,
one
and
in
yeah,
history,
yes, and very
and
exciting.
music.
Yes, yes. That's four awards. I mean, I believe that was a record-breaking nomination there. So, with all 16 of them. But, it's a pleasure to be in the midst of such brilliant, creative people.
Mhm.
The majority, obviously, of our staff, they're all creatives and just brilliant, all each in their own right.
That's wonderful. What does a chief operating officer do?
You know what? Believe it or not, I get asked that a lot.
I bet.
Yeah, I do. They're like, "What in the world does that involve?" Well, I would say my day to day is maintaining the operations of the company, right? So that's everything having to do with overseeing legal, HR, the studios, IT, tech, security, contracts.
Mm.
It just anything that has to do with this business staying alive, being viable, and being able to operate. So that's what I do on a daily basis. Now, I also do strategic planning, and so that's more so like scaling for the future. The industry was hit pretty hard after, there was the fires and COVID and this and that and movies,
Right.
the great flight, of a lot of movies are now shooting in Atlanta, and it's much cheaper to shoot out of the country and all kinds of things. So with that also budgets kind of decreased. So we just have found that, there's a need to obviously stay true to key art. Sorry, stay true to key art, because that is a 25-year-old, very proven uh kind of part of the business. But we're also doing something really fun and getting more into socials, and that is something we started about a year ago. And then also that kind of just does a handshake with branding. So I work together with Kenny and our socials team, and also building teams to make sure that we can sustain our culture, which is
Mm.
very, very, very important to us. And then that we also can build for the future to adjust to the climate in the industry.
Gravelous has always, this is a quote from our dear lovely one. Gravelous has always defined the space where art, culture, and storytelling meet.
Oh,
I'm honored to join Kenny and his incredible team to help shape the next chapter of growth, expanding our creative reach, pushing boundaries, and delivering work that authentically moves culture forward.
yes.
Unquote. Now, I found that to be really exciting because I would think, before I read this, I thought, okay, the COO's job is this side of creative. But what this also told me is you also have a creative hand in the way that things are done, even if it's in a business sense. Is that yes?
You know what? That's well said. That is very well said. I think part of the reason Kenny and I have such a great relationship is because I absolutely stay out of the creative. So, creative as it means, anything that has to do with, pictures and storytelling and narrative. But to the extent I am involved, would be, visualizing for the future and putting together, milestones and KPIs and strategic planning to get to where we want to be. there is a level of creativity involved because we want to be ahead. We want to be ahead of, all of the trends, so that we have to get ready, that we're always ready. So there is a level in creativity and figuring out, how do we execute from where we're at? How do we get to from point A to point B and sustain and be viable and keep everybody happy? There's also, the best thing about Gravel is, I would have to say, is that we really genuinely care about
Mm.
every single employee deeply. It is an employee centered organization, and it is very important to us that our designers have the buy-in, that they're happy. We don't have the kind of organization where we have designers crying every day because they're so overwhelmed and not listened to. My door is always open. We're always there for them. They're always trying to figure out how best to keep their
Mm.
buy-in, how best to keep them happy, because a lot of our designers, they start as interns. Yes, there's a wonderful program at Gravelis. Unfortunately, I can't take credit for it. It was started before I got there, but we have an amazing internship program where you come in and we train you the basics. You got to know Photoshop. You got Adobe Photoshop, and you got to know how to, well, Drew, my HR manager, who's wonderful. She can walk you through all the steps, but you got to show that you kind of you have what it takes to get a Gravelis stamp. So yeah, it's that. So I would have to say that's my creative kind of input. It is, how do we get there, keeping everybody happy and having a successful, smooth landing to where we want.
Mhm. And get
So.
there together. You're going
Mhm.
to get there together rather than apart. I'm going to be better. I'm above the line. Blah blah blah. That's so important. I would love to see more companies come from that attitude. I find, don't you? It works so much better, don't you find?
Yes, it works better, it feels better, and it yields higher results,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that everybody really loves what they do. They love doing it together, and the synergy is very high.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so it's nice to be in I call it sustainable excellence. We you have an environment where it's sustainable and everybody wants to show up.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't any. We don't. If we have a challenge, we're going to come together, figure it out. Nobody's gonna fall apart in that moment. You maybe fall apart later, but in that moment, everybody's putting on their hats, they're going to work, and we're working together. And I love being on a team like that. I just can't say enough how strong the team in general is, and just how happy I am to be working with them and to be a leader on that team.
That's so wonderful. When Kenny came and he spoke to us, that was so much of his philosophy. And he is, of course, it all starts from the top. And he is just wonderful about that. And I'm excited to meet you. This first time we've met, because you are so much. I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah. If I was in that room when you interviewed, I would have been like, Kenny, yeah, she's the one. Because what's beautiful is you bring that to the table, and you've been successful with it, so you guys can come together along with the rest of the team. And that's very exciting. I think about this as I look at you as this beautiful young woman. What was it like as a woman? Because you talk about breaking boundaries. We were talking
Oof.
earlier, a woman, a black woman.
Ooh. It has been the most rewarding and challenging
Mhm.
experience. It's I was telling you earlier, I don't necessarily ever think of myself as a woman in circumstances, even to this day. When I do think of myself as a woman is when I'm trying to help out another woman, or when I want to pay it forward for everybody who came before me. But I do not ever think of myself as, oh goodness, I'm different than these people in this room. Hence, that's going to make me inferior. Hence, I need to worry about what's coming out of my mouth. Nope, I'm always solution oriented. I'm like, what is the problem? How do we solve it? I'm here for it. That's it.
Mhm, mhm. That
So, and,
mhm.
mhm.
That's wonderful, and I know you must have run up into roadblocks
Woo.
during this journey. How have you? Can you maybe give us an example of something of how you've attacked it? Wrong word. Of how you've approached it.
Yeah, you know what? I have definitely, I think it would have to do more with image. I come from a time, even in school, they would teach us, you pull your hair back in a bun, you always want to be super, buttoned up, and extremely, you want to be the most professional one in the room. You want to make sure that you hold the highest level with all of your presentations and all your emails and this and that. And I would have to say I have learned in my career, it is not about coming across super polished. It's more about what you say when you get there. And if you can stay motivated yourself and motivate the people that you're speaking with. It has less to do with, how you wear your hair, what you have on, if your
Mhm.
email is perfectly put together and all these things. Sometimes people like it if you're just like, hey, you know what? I noticed we have a little friction with this. Let's hop on a call and maybe see if we can hash this out.
Mhm.
It doesn't take, this huge, oh goodness, let me figure all this out over here. I think it's just taking a step back, settling into your authentic self. You know,
Ah.
people relate to real people. And that for me has always been my special sauce, not, being anything other than pretty much the same person I am when I come home.
Mm.
I'm the same person at work. I don't try to change. And I realized that was my commerce. That was what allowed me to be successful and to relate to people and be, able to get people to see where I'm coming from, right?
Mhm. That's your superpower.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe I've heard such, but you know what? Because I don't think about things, like I just try not to think about it. I just try,
Mhm.
hey, you know what? If I am absolutely doing my best, applying myself, and giving it to you like it is, giving it straight, then that's it. I'm just gonna drop everything and leave it. You let me know, let me know where you're at after that. I don't think about it.
Oh, I love it. So then you're also not thinking about how someone is perceiving you
Mm-mm,
because you're
no.
staying with what your needs are, what you're there to do. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because then you're clogging the pipeline. At the end of the day, as a professional and as a woman, honestly, you just want to be efficient. You want to solve problems. You want to make money. You want to get the buy-in from the people that you're dealing with. You want to close deals with as less issues as possible. So to sit
Mhm.
there and be worried about what somebody's thinking about you, that can only hinder what really your real goal is. So I try to keep a clear mind. Like, what are we dealing with here? Let's separate the forest from the trees.
Mhm. I love that. I think that makes so much sense. There's something to me that I've come to recently. When you teach kids when they're little, they come out, they tell you the truth. They tell you what they think. If they don't want to sit next to you, it's not because they don't like you. If they don't want to hug you right now, they blah, blah, blah. The things they say, I find that when we're taught to be nice, is when some of the authenticity of who we are can go away because I'm busy thinking about how you feel or could feel from what I might say, as opposed to just saying what I have to say.
Yes.
When I was
Yes.
growing up, that was my big thing. I was the oldest, so I had to take care of everybody.
Mhm. Mhm.
and you have to be an example. And that's the also the other part of a generation that I come from that's older. Yeah, it's older than you. I'll use the word that we felt that we had to be an example
Mhm.
as a
Mhm.
woman, as a black woman. And so then there's a part of you that you take away um, what your needs are because you're trying to understand what the whole race is going to need. Oh, baby, need in this moment. And I didn't have it as much as my mother had, as much as her mother had.
Yeah. 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 Heavy is the burden. That's a lot to be thinking about, isn't it?
Lots to be thinking about. I'm so glad I'm not thinking about that stuff now.
Yeah, that's a lot. Oh my God. I, I'm tired already.
Woo, baby, baby. We were talking earlier, you guys. I had told Caitlin that what was great was I have found that women who are younger than me and in this other generation, that would be her, to watch how they have this force of nature, force of life, of passion for what they know, and no apology for being smart, for being beautiful, for how your hair is, for how your lips are, for the skin color that you have, for the way you move your hips. I wrote a poem about it. I'm going to have to read it to you guys one day. And it's exciting to see because, and then you have a daughter now who is going to UC Berkeley
Mhm.
who wants to be a neuroscientist. And that is so exciting. How was that journey for her?
Ooh. Oh my God. A girl in STEM. Woo, let me tell you, it's funny because I have an MBA,
Yes.
and the school that she's like, and I was like, well, Zion, that's her name, and I say, babe, it's gonna be, it's gonna be okay. Just take one step at a time, do what you need to do. And she looks at me, she goes, and I'm like, well, people have made it. Your granddad was an attorney. He got his JD, and I have my MBA. Your auntie has her master's, and she looks at me, she goes, Mom, none of you guys were in STEM. Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
Well, exactly. Oh, okay. So, well, I still think all the same rules apply, but okay, but it's like I want to validate that STEM is special, especially in Berkeley. It's like the number one, arguably the number one research institution in the world. A lot of heavy research that's widely respected comes out of Berkeley, and for her to have this opportunity in her life, I often will sit and tell her stories about, her grandmother, her great grandmother, my mother, and just, how proud they would truly, truly, truly be of her, and how huge this really, really is. I can't say enough what it means to me to have her studying, neuroscience, and it's honestly such a new. It's I didn't know this, but scientists, they might argue that it might not even be like real science, real biology. Yes, well, she gave me she broke this down for me the last week. She was like, "Mom, it's such a new thing." And so I'm just excited for her to be, at the cutting edge of, technology and neuroscience, and God knows what she'll
Mhm.
do. I'm so grateful.
Groundbreaking. She is the dream. I
Yeah,
know
she
that I'm a
is.
dream. I know the next generation, you're the dream. And she is the ultimate dream of something they couldn't even fathom that could happen. This young black girl can stand on her own and go toe to toe. And it's going to be so exciting to see where she takes this. What does her mind add to the conversation? Because she's
Yes.
put herself in that place and she sounds like she's ready to go toe to toe with all of them.
Yes, yes, yes. Believe it. Believe it. She's ready. She's out there. She's doing her thing. And so, yes, I just honestly think we're just getting better and better and better. And we truly are all stepping stones for
Yes.
one another. And it's not even something I think can be argued. You can see it. Like it's very clear.
Yeah.
So she has taken her step. She is taking it. And I can only imagine what it'll be like for her children.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's wonderful. And you were speaking of your grandmother and your great grandmother and your mother. Can you tell us about your lineage?
Oh boy. So on my dad's side, they're from Memphis, Tennessee. And so I spent every summer of my life down in Memphis, Tennessee. And so my great grandmother, she was my dad, never let me forget this. Great grandmother, she was a slave. He never, ever lets me forget that. I have to, it don't make great to have to put in there. But he's like, yes, and you need to know that. And then my great grandmother, they all lived in Tennessee and lived, very kind of Tennessee-ish life, sharecropping and the whole thing. And my father was the first one in the whole entire family to go to college. He went
Marvelous.
on a football scholarship too, and he went to Howard University, and he made sure that all of his brothers also went to college, even paying some of their college and yelling at them whenever they would mess up because my uncles were a mess. They were true frat boys. I remember that even as a kid when they would come visit. But and he made sure they went to school. And my dad is just big on education. But like my grandmother, she had a sixth grade education and she cleaned houses. But to this day, she was one of the smartest women I've
Hmm.
ever met. She taught me so much about human nature, so much about stress or worry or spirituality and just so much just about basic life. She would always say, "It's two kind of sense, Kaylin." She'd say, "You could have book street, book sense, and you can have common sense." And some people have even street sense, which is a whole nother sense. So she has three of them. She said, "You want to make sure you're not just book sense. That's very, very important. Common sense, it can even get you a lot farther than that book sense and that other sense. You make sure that you mix all your sense together." And that always stayed with me, to make sure that I wasn't, that I always use my common sense. She's always say, common sense is not so common, you know.
We can see this right now, the way the world is going, and then we'll leave that there. But yes.
Yeah. So she was great. She gave me a lot of very grounding quotes. I mean, I could almost write a book, the quotes my grandmother gave me. So
Oh, you should. You should. Because it sounds like you've got so much to offer in that way. And this is why, and I was telling you why I do the Vision is Possible. It's to inspire people. You see this, you guys. Kaylin has come from quite a beautiful lineage. We all have a beautiful lineage. If it's not directly from your grandmother, your mother, your father, it is an uncle, it is a cousin, it could be the woman down the street who can speak to you. And what is beautiful is that we take what we have in our lives and we share it with others. I mean, that would just be a fun thing to put out there because those are things people pick up or they find in the bookstore when there are tears falling from their eyes and they're wondering what to do. And they open the book and they read something like that. And you have such a beautiful way about you where you there are phrases that come. You just no matter
oh,
what you talk about turning lemons into lemonade.
oh goodness.
That's
Thank you.
that's what that is. Turning lemons into lemonade, and that some point you got that from your grandmother, huh?
I would have to say so. Yeah, I remember we didn't have any food in the kitchen, and Grandma goes in the kitchen because she was hungry. She goes, "Oh, there's plenty of food in the kitchen." I couldn't find anything, and she takes a potato and puts it like in water and lets it bake, and she makes potato soup. And I'm like, "Oh," and it
Uh-uh.
was good. It was good, but she taught me. She taught me like, yes, there are all kind of possibilities, and one of my mottos is there are never really any problems. They're just opportunities. And I say it all the time. I say it at work all the time. I say it in my personal life all the time. Just because you haven't found the solution doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means you haven't found it. Yeah, she taught me that. Yes, always very solution oriented.
There are solutions. I'm writing this to put this
Oh,
here in in our chat over here in the comments. I direct a lot of theater. Um, I've directed television, galas, and whenever there is a problem, it has never ceased to amaze me how it is giving me a better solution to whatever I thought I was going to do.
Yes.
And it is because whenever there's a problem, I do not get stuck in that problem. It's like, all right, what do I need to do to fix this?
Mhm.
And I always believe in the creative gods, and I believe that everything is for our highest good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no matter what is happening, there is a solution to the problem. Now, if depending on what it is, if I need to take a moment and get upset about it, I need to do that over there and come right back. But at this time in my life, I rarely do that at all anymore. I breathe through it and relax to see what can be given to me, what's out there in the universe of the information that's going to come up. Because we get in the way when we start
Mhm.
panicking, and I'm so upset. I'm like, okay, okay, I only have how much time to make this happen? Whenever I have done that, it's always screwed me up. But
Yeah.
whenever I've taken a breath and taken a moment and looked for what can happen to solve it,
Mhm.
something more delicious in that moment comes out. And I love hearing stories from people about how they had a problem they need to solve and they decided to do it this way. And wow, that is the way they should have done it. I
Mhm.
firmly believe that every project we work on, whether it's in the entertainment business, you guys, or not, at some point when you're working on your project, and tell me if you find this. Oh shoot, I don't want to lose that thought. At some point when you're working, when you're oh shoot, shoot, shoot. At some point when you're working on it, it tells you what it wants to be.
Mm. Mhm.
It says,
Yeah.
I can be going this way and something will happen. That's because actually I should be headed in this direction. Have you found that too?
Gotta flow with the river. Flow
That-
with the river.
That's right. Flow with the river. Another boy, we're gonna get all of her grandmothers saying
That was
this
another one.
weekend. I'll tell you.
That was another one from my grandmother. Well, yeah, allow it to flow. Allow it to flow. Don't get in the way of your own excellence, Like you're being presented with an opportunity. An opportunity.
Hmm. So now, why would you call it? Because we have talked about it, but say more about that. Why does that a problem become an opportunity?
Well, I mean, well, I do believe that, there's that expression that life just keeps on lifing, right? So, personally and professionally, um, we've all heard of the stories where somebody says, oh, I was having a problem with this, and I was having a problem, at work, and all of a sudden I looked up and I started looking around for work, and somebody, I couldn't find a job here, and then this happened, and I lost my house, and I lost this, and I lost that, and then all of a sudden they say it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I ended up, moving to Hawaii, and now I have my own shop, and I've never been happier. And, you always hear about these stories. So sometimes you really, and that's like a very extreme example. I mean, there's also just like at work when you think a project is gonna, hey, this project, we're gonna walk it from A to Z, and we're gonna do, we're going to put this much resources into it. We're going to turn it in. We're going to get an approval, and then we're going to close this out. And sometimes it's, you know what? This thing is going to need to be worked and reworked, and perhaps maybe the opportunity in it is that, we found more ways to actually monetize this project. Not only can we, perhaps do the key art, we can also, do the socials, and the socials are going to include, wonderful, AV, a motion piece, and they're going to include, all these different posts, and so this can turn into, a wonderful, opportunity to have a relationship, a longer spanning relationship. And that's really what things are about. So as opposed to being like, oh God, here we are with a problem, really looking at things like, huh, okay, this could be an opportunity for us to maybe look at this a little different. I truly believe that, like, having a breakdown, have it, do what you need to do or not, you know. But yeah, at the end of the day, come in with solutions, come in with a positive attitude. You know, there's that silly thing about, like, you know, your attitude decides your altitude. And if you're just going to sit there and cry and not make a move, I mean, you're never going to be able to see all these wonderful possibilities that are there just waiting for you.
Yeah.
And so is one thing, you know, Kenny and I are really, really big on is, you know what? Here we are, we have this issue. How do we work with this? What do we do? How do we, and we really don't spend much time talking about if something was derailed or if it went wrong. It's more like, how do we work this out? How do we, you know, how do we actually come out on top and maybe turn this into something that we didn't see before? So I really do feel that, you know, obstacles are an opportunity to maybe reevaluate and find even greater opportunities than you initially anticipated.
I so agree with that. I so agree with that. I think that is the one way you can continue to move forward. Otherwise, you're stagnant. I've never been one for a lot of small talk, and especially now when there is a problem, I'm really not interested in how it went wrong or who you think might be responsible. I don't want to get into that conversation, even over wine or any of that. I really want to look and assess and see what is the situation. What's our problem? And then let's see how we can work. Number one, it gives us, whoever the us is, a chance to know each other better. It also gives us a chance to maybe look at new resources to help us that we never might have thought of expanding and looking outside of our purview
Mhm.
before. And there's another part of my brain I'm going to get a chance to use. I just did a wonderful play. I just directed a wonderful play. It's called Greenwood 1964, and it's about a true reenactment of when Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier took $60,000 in 1964 down to Greenwood, Mississippi, and how the Klan chased them into hiding.
Oh.
And so it was a three character play, and I had cast it, and we were all ready to go. And within the first week, one actor left. Now I've got two. Now I've got to recast. We only get 3, 4 weeks of rehearsal.
Mhm.
So there's already a week. Now I've got to recast that. Then another actor we had to let go. Now I've got to recast that. Now my media guy is not doing right. We've got I could not believe all of the things that came up. But what
Mhm.
we never did was sit there and go, what are we going to do? All the what are we going to do is, where do we go to find this person? This is what we need. This is the timing we need. And my partner, the writer, producer, and I got busy. And it was wonderful. I found a new comrade in arms, because that really tells you about someone. It was also another belief, you guys, that you find about yourself, what you continue, even at this lovely age that I am, you continue to realize what you are made of. And that is to move the ball, continue to move that ball up the hill. We just saw, too, if you watch basketball, we just saw for the NCAA two brilliant coaches go like this. And man, I was very angry at how that happened. But you see, one of them had to be the peacemaker. One of them had to see that the game was more important. Oh, doggone it. Come on now. That the game was more important. Let me see if I can get on my camera. That the game, oh, let me do that L. If the game is more important than the argument. And we did do that. I have this very like $600 friggin' camera, and you're supposed to be able to do this, and then it moves in and out. We're just going to continue, and then I'll just figure it out. There we go. And what was beautiful was to see how we could take a teaching a very angry moment and make it a teaching moment of how we need to treat each other, and
Mhm.
how we need to look at what is more important than our ego in the moment.
Yeah. 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 There's so much more going on than your ego, you know. And the minute you can tell that thing to be quiet, so many other qualities, so many other values, so many other
Mhm.
skills will be able to speak, because that ego is pretty loud.
Ooh, baby, that ego can be talking, 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 talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
find it is very important in terms of really loving yourself, in terms of really knowing yourself. Um, I speak about this a lot on the show. Your best friend is looking at you every morning in that mirror.
Oh.
And if you don't have a relationship with that person that is good, how can you have a relationship with anyone else that honestly is good out there? And so that ego can be good, and that it's when it starts to run away and starts to believe what's good and what's bad.
Mhm.
Then we
Mhm.
need balance.
Mhm.
I am so glad that you came to visit with us tonight. You are just a light, as in one of the conversations, one of the oh here, I don't know if you saw this. I'm going to put this here. Frances Cheever said this. I want to share this with you. What she said about you, a beautiful, bright.
Oh, thank you.
You have said so much to us today that is so beautiful. And I still ask all of my guests at the very end, is there anything on your heart that you'd like to share with us at all?
I just think, whenever you doubt yourself or whenever you're having a hard day, that's okay. Always know everything is really working for you. If you believe that, and know your value, know what you bring to the table, and just bring it.
Mm, beautiful. You are just wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And is there any place where people can reach you at all and find out more about you?
Oh my goodness. Well, they can contact me on LinkedIn. I'm also, at Gravelis, Kaylin at Gravelis Inc., .com. You can reach me there. And obviously, I'd be more than happy to connect with anybody. This has been such a pleasure. I'm so grateful for this time. You are amazing. And this
Oh,
has just been such a wonderful time with you. Thank you.
thank you so much, Kaylin. You have a beautiful night. Please give a hug to Mr. Kenny and tell him he is a friend of the show, and I'm just crazy about him. He's so wonderful, and I look forward to continued great things from Gravelis and from your influence into the company.
Oh, thank you so much. And I certainly will make sure to do that.
Great. Good night, my darling.
Take care. Bye bye.
Huh. Well, what do you think about that gorgeous, wonderful, enlightened, divine creature? That wonderful woman. Isn't she fabulous? Oh, yes, she is. I'm going to try and see if I can fix my camera. And if I can't, I'm not going to worry about it. Doesn't matter. Let me tell you what I love so much about that conversation, how authentic she is. Kaylin didn't just speak about her authenticity and what she felt is important, she lives it. Her truth. She shared her truth with us from her heart. There were no boundaries up, there were no walls up. I am going to, you know I'm going to, when I send that email to thank her for coming, I'm going to really inspire her, I hope, to write down those wisdoms that may take her 5 or 8 or 10 years. Who cares how long? Put them over here on the side, and then when she's ready, put out her grandmother's book, and it will be just wonderful. Don't you think so? Wonderful sayings. She reminds me of these old sayings that my parents used to say. My grandmother would say, "One monkey don't stop no show." I loved it. She would tell that to us whenever we were crying over there being young about some boy that upset or some girlfriend that upset me. One monkey don't stop no show. Pretty is what pretty does, not how pretty looks. My mother would say that. It's in your heart. And that's what Kaylin brought to us. Kaylin brought to us that it is about your heart. It is about your passion. It is about you, just you. And she didn't say this, but what I also intuit from that is everybody ain't gonna like you, baby. Everybody's not gonna like you. Ed Sullivan Show. If you don't know, Google him. You remember, Ed would say, not everybody's going to like the entertainment I have. But if I like me, if I like what I am doing, if I feel passionate about what I am doing, if I stay focused and obedient to what that passion is, meaning you don't leave it just because someone told you no, you stick with it, you will attract the folks you need to help you move forward. You will attract the money you need to help you move forward. Now, we all know that when you start out in a project, there is no money there. I started with the vision as possible because my social media guy said, Iona, this is what we ask our clients to do. Just do 30 minutes. That was 3.5 years ago. And look where we are, you guys. And it's just going to keep growing from here. That's the gift I can give to myself. Give the gift of you to you continually. Even those who are successful, I promise you, they will celebrate that success and be so happy. Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Ryan's wife, Michael, his mama, all of those people, when they won the Oscars, they partied and they've been flying high. But I promise you, they're looking for the next project. They're looking for the next creative idea that can challenge them and fill them up and what they can give and share with the world. That's what all of us need to do. And that's what everybody needs to remember. Just because you made it doesn't mean that you aren't constantly working on making it. You are constantly working on the next thing to improve upon. Look at Kaylin. Kaylin was at Skydance. She could have stayed at Skydance. It would have been great. She's looking for the next thing. Now she's at Gravelous Incorporated. Look up Gravelous. She is there, and she's going to help that company move. They're 25 years in. They're doing great, but they want to also be greater than where they are. That's what we all need to remember to do with our own lives. Don't come on in here crying about, well, they said no to me and they didn't like my project. So find out why they said no. Is there some good information in there? They may give you 10 points. You may only like one of them. Or if you step back for a moment, put your ego to the side, you may find that all of them, their 10 points will help your project be better. May help you deliver your project better. So you want to stick with that. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on my friend. And for all of you who are here who are like, listen, Iona, I'm successful. I've already made it. Yes, you are, darling. So what's next, huh? There's always something next. And everyone who is successful knows that. That's why they continue to be successful. Because as I'm now repeating myself, you continue just to grow and to learn and to give and to share and to be. I just thought of something personal. I put out a post recently about my husband. My husband and I have been together for 21 years. And it just hit me how I could communicate with him better so I could understand him better. And we wouldn't have some of those little, if you're in a relationship, you have these little things that happen, these little conversations that end up happening. And what I realized was I needed to know him. 21 years, you think I know him? Yeah, I know him. But there are times when I want him to say it differently. I want him to do it differently. What I needed to do was to know how he does it and make that okay. I just thought about that as something that I'm learning. I'm so glad you guys are here on Wednesday. I'm so glad you have been with us. And I want you to have a brilliant Wednesday. And I will see you next week. I'm sending you love and light. And remember to say hello to your best friend, that person in the mirror. Remember to share love with them. Remember to smile at somebody on an elevator or walking down the street. To say hello to somebody you don't know to brighten their day. Remember to be more patient with others, especially those who give you attitude. Probably isn't you, baby. It's probably something going on with them. So, in the meantime, in between time, you have a beautiful week. I'll see you next week, but before you go, wait a minute. Before you go, hold on. Let me share a little bit of this. Here's my info. Here's where you can find me. Please come looking for me. Tell your friends so we can build up this whole The Vision is Possible community. And here is the show. This is where you can find the show, not only here. All right, go to my website. I'm loving up on you guys.